Well, I followed Sister Joanne as principal, and in those days, nothing drew us. I had never heard of Seaford, never mind St. Williams. In those days, you applied to the diocesan office, and then they would call you if there was an opening, and you would go for an interview with the present principal, remember Sister Joanne, and the pastor and the school board, and then would be hired from that process. So nothing really drew me to this particular place. However, I am convinced this is where God meant me to be, because there is not a better place that I could have been. The people that I met, the people I was privileged to work with, and the absolute delight in coming back 24 years after that and 13 years after leaving. So that's what drew me.
Father Bob gave me a call because the same thing, I was looking for a position.
Right.
So you received a call, and I said, same reaction. I heard Seaford. I don't want to go to Seaford. Where is Seaford, right? No. He called. I came in. We spoke. We had a couple of interviews. He was wonderful, and he welcomed me to the community. So I was very blessed.
I had been working in the Catholic schools since my children started school, so my position, I had worked first grade, fourth grade, many grades, and my position, I became the assistant principal in the school that I was in Christ the King in Comac. Well, they did regionalizations, and my job was terminated. So I put my resume out there, and Mrs. Guardino, Anna, called me for an interview. We had a lovely conversation, and she hired me.
And the rest is history.
And the rest is
so,
history.
So they say, right?
Yeah, and the rest was history. Yes. Oh, yes.
And Sister Joanne knows it, from September to January, I think I called her every day, almost, and said, what about this, what about that? And I remember you said to me then in January, you must be getting it right, or so, because you haven't called in about a week. So, of course, we relied on the people
Right.
who
And you
went
felt
before
comfortable
us.
enough to call them.
Absolutely.
All three of these women were very gracious to me when I started. Peggy, of course, because she was my immediate predecessor. And she just turned the reins over to me, and we sat down and we had multiple conversations, and she was just so gracious and so lovely. Anna stopped in one day. We had a meeting over the summer before I started. And Sister Joanne was calling me and checking up on me. So we definitely relied on each other.
Absolutely.
It's a great school. It's a great community.
Mm-hmm.
It really is.
Mm-hmm. And I can remember when we wanted to buy a fax machine, and I said, I'll never use a fax. Why do I need a fax? And when we first started, if you remember, Sister Joanne, with technology, and we had meetings with the people who were going to train us, and I kept thinking, do I really need this? I could just pick up the phone and call them. Little did I realize how dramatic it would be in our
That's
time.
it.
And I would venture to say, in the
It's-
13 years I'm gone, it has changed.
Completely changed.
Yeah, I don't know that I could walk in and do it again
Absolutely.
today.
No.
So dramatic. Also, not only technologically, but even in terms of parents and students and the world we live in, lots of major changes, yes.
And we had to kind of, on the fly, reinvent how we did things with the pandemic.
yes.
And talk
Oh,
about technology.
Absolutely.
Right?
I don't know.
So-
I was glad that I was gone.
Me too. I was too. I was too.
I was, if
I
you
don't
wanted
know.
to come back.
No,
Yes.
no,
No, it
but
was-
I saw what my daughter was doing with her children at home, and
Yeah.
we couldn't go out of our homes. We stayed in
Yes,
our homes the
yes,
entire
that's
time.
right.
Right. But
Yeah.
so proud of how the entire community handled the pandemic in terms of the technology.
Mhm.
Yes.
I mean, we were, the classes were online. We even had a virtual retreat day. We didn't want to give up on those traditions that made St. William so
William's
special. So we did virtual after-school clubs. So we really utilized the technology to reinforce what we had been doing in person.
I found it amazing, not being in school, to see how ready you were to overnight be able to do it.
Mhm.
I mean,
Mhm.
as Anna said, we got a fax machine. And I used to think, how does that work? You put the paper down, and someplace else it's coming out the way it
Yeah,
looked.
yeah.
And then you
Now
think,
it's-
what we do it today.
I know. I know.
Absolutely.
I remember a course in St. John's University, and you had to do the whole punch, and then we could punch it, and we go to North Carolina to get your assignment back. I mean, my phone does far more than that,
Now,
Me
Now.
too. Yeah, yeah,
and kids know even more than I do
Oh.
about the phone.
no question.
You know, we just really had no choice. We just had to,
Right.
you know,
Had
we
to.
had to be
We
ready.
had
We
to.
had to do it.
and I have to say, the school was above some of the other schools ready to do it, to take the
Yes.
time.
Mhm.
They gave us, the pastor gave us the money to do it,
Right.
and we did it.
Right. And we all have that secret weapon, Mrs. Ryan, also
Oh,
our
Oh,
wow.
well,
technology director,
Yes.
who, you know, was so instrumental
Extremely
in
Oh,
the
yeah,
success.
I used to go, Roberta!
Oh, me too. Well, the students used to tell me, I would get on the loudspeaker and say, Mrs. Ryan, could you come to the main office? And they used to tell me after, we know that means you need help with technology. I said, oh, now you tell
They're
me
onto you.
that. They're on